5 clarinet ligature mistakes to avoid at all costs. The most important one will be mistake number 5, so make sure to watch this video until the very end. Clarinet ligature mistake number 1 is to screw on your ligature too loosely. Okay, so many clarinetists try to enhance the sound to free up the vibration of the reed by just very, very loosely tightening the ligature above the reed so that the reed can vibrate really freely. Okay, so this is not my preferred way that I do during practice. I do this during concerts, okay? So during concerts, I try not to squeeze off the reed and then, to have a more free-blowing reed and to not go too hard. I go a little bit less than too hard so that the reed can vibrate really well. But during rehearsals, what I do, and during practice as well, is I screw it on with this Rovner MK3, it's called, I think. I will put a link down in the description if you would like to have the same one as me. Okay, I screw it on as hard as possible. And once I reach the end, I even go with my t-shirt and I screw it even a little bit harder. This has the benefit that the reed will take the exact shape. It will be pressed onto the table of the mouthpiece. It will take the shape of your mouthpiece together with the moisture. And it will perfectly adapt to your mouthpiece and then in the end vibrate much better in concerts because it's perfectly shaped together with your mouthpiece. Also, if you look at my ligature, basically I have this little V shape almost, basically which forces the reed to be pressed on against the table of the mouthpiece a little bit more at the sides, which forces the reed into a very specific shape. Afterwards, I will sand the reeds down a little bit with a reed geek or with sandpaper so that it's perfectly flat again. And then you have a reed that never changes and just takes the shape of your mouthpiece and is perfectly adapted to the shape of your mouthpiece. The problem with screwing the reed on too gently, okay, is that there's a lot of game here, yeah, that it's moving around, and also the gap between this part where the air goes in and the moisture forms and the actual table of the mouthpiece where the reed should lay completely flat. The reed will not cut off the moisture. So if the reed lays too gently on this part, yeah, it will open up a little bit and then moisture will come down onto the table of the mouthpiece and onto this part of the reed. If this happens, the reed starts warping in an uncontrolled way, yeah, because the moisture doesn't come evenly. It comes first here, then here, then here, and then to the sides, and then to the sides, and your reed will be warped. Okay, so moisture is one of the things that can completely warp your reed if it's not applied evenly. Like for example, if you soak a reed, this is applying moisture evenly. If it just happens during playing randomly, it will warp your reed. Ligature mistake number 2. When you start playing, you first put the reed, okay, in your preferred playing position, and you put the ligature afterwards. Okay, this is wrong, the wrong way around. So it would be better to put the ligature first, then open up a little bit, yeah, open up space here. So push the ligature up and then slide the reed in. Okay, so this is a much better way to not destroy your reeds, basically, because it happened to me quite often when I did it the wrong way around when I started out with clarinet playing. So that's quite bad, that you will have your metal ligature or something like this, and then you will be nervous before a concert and you will and then you squished the tip of your reed with your ligature. So you enhance the danger of ruining your reed. So just make it the other way around, so to avoid that this never can happen. By the way, countdown is running for joining at the current price for clarinetmasterclass.com. Okay, clarinet-masterclass.com, if you type it into Safari or Google Chrome, whatever, is my program. It's my online masterclass program for intermediate clarinetists that want to go from good to great on the clarinet fast. For clarinetists that want to get rid of all of their clarinet technique problems in a fast way, in a matter of weeks, not in a matter of years, how you were doing it before. Okay, before it might have taken you 10 years to get rid of some problems, but you still didn't get rid of all of the problems. Okay, and now what we're going to do in this program is we're going to get rid of all of the mistakes, all of the clarinet technique problems in a matter of just a few weeks. Okay, if you think this has value to you, to get rid of all of your clarinet technique problems and to gain a lot of confidence on stage, to not be scared of concerts anymore, to actually feel a lot of self-worth because your clarinet playing is finally awesome, make sure to go sign up right now. I am 100% sure you will not regret it. And in just a couple of days, the price will go up and it will not go back down again. So if you've been thinking about joining, this is the moment to pull the trigger. See you inside the membership. Link is down in the description below and in the first comment. Clarinet ligature mistake number 3 is you try to open up the reed more by putting the ligature extremely low on your mouthpiece. Okay, so you're putting it really down in order to increase the gap maybe here so that the reed doesn't close, but the fact that the reed close is not related to your ligature position. Okay, so this isn't a really good thing to do in my opinion. First of all, it looks a bit silly if you look at the mouthpiece. It's not the correct position for the ligature to be in. But second of all, by increasing the gap here, again, you increase the likelihood that water, that condensed water or your spit or whatever, your saliva, to stay correct, comes into underneath your reed onto the table of the mouthpiece and warps your reed. Okay, so I do the complete opposite. I put it at most mouthpieces have this line, okay, this line where the opening of the facing actually starts and the table is finished, and I put it at exactly this line. Okay, so you can see the line here. Okay, so there's a little line telling you exactly where the upper end of your ligature should go, and this is where you should screw it on really tight. Clarinet ligature mistake number 4 is you have a ligature that has very little contact with the reed. Okay, so if you just have a ligature, that sometimes we have these plates, okay, that try to enhance the vibration of the reed or blah blah blah, and just touch the reed in 2 tiny spots or in 2 tiny dots. I think that's not the way to go. Just increases the chance of your reed taking a life of its own in starting to do squeaks, in distorting, in starting to vibrate in an uncontrolled way. So I think actually the other way to go, to have as much point of contact of the ligature with the reed to control the vibration of the reed. Okay, so that it doesn't control through the entire part of the reed in an uncontrolled way, but that you actually have something that kind of controls the vibration of the reed, and then you can then push much more air without the reed opening too much. Okay, you can play with much more air and the reed will still respond in a controlled vibration, and playing with much more air is the preferred way of playing the clarinet. If you, for example, imagine the German Schnur, okay, so just the rope to put on the reed. This is considered as almost the best ligature in the world. Okay, so German clarinetists back in the time, they have been, actually I also have them on my mouthpiece. Okay, these are little guidances for the rope to hold well. Okay, now I ruined my reed. Congratulations. Okay, whatever. Good that it was just a demonstration reed. Okay, so you put the rope on a couple of times, and there's point of contact with the entire reed. And of course, because you put the rope on one time and it's quite an effort, you don't take it off during the rehearsals or during the practice. So this is actually a method that you just put it on once and it stays stable during a 3-hour rehearsal. Okay, we French clarinetists with the French system, we get used to, something is a little bit watery, something sounds a little bit airy, I will take off the entire thing, I will take off the moisture and I will put on the reed again, and then stuff will work again. This wasn't possible with the German rope. Okay, so they just put it on once, really tight, really well, and point of contact evenly everywhere on the reed, and it worked. And it worked really well, and it worked better than most ligature designs nowadays. This brings me to mistake number 5, taking off the ligature too often. Okay, so if you have a rehearsal and you're, I don't know, taking off the ligature more than just once during the rehearsal, you're doing something wrong. Okay, so I had this bad habit when I was starting off studies in the bachelor, and I just I know during a practice I might have taken the reed down and put the moisture off like 20 times during a practice sessions or 20 times during a rehearsal. Now I do the complete opposite. Okay, I just put the reed on, I screw it on really tight, and I leave it on, and it has to work. Okay, because the other method is not reliable. It's not reliable for any professional rehearsals. It's not reliable for any professional orchestras or even youth orchestras, to be honest. Like, if 20 seconds before the solo, you have to take off your reed, put off the moisture, put the reed back on, and then hope that you put it in the correct place and you don't have a second to try it again before your solo, and then just hope for the best. This is a method for disaster to happen. Maybe your entire solo will not come. Okay, so be sure to find a method where you put on the reed once, you put on the ligature once in the right place, and it works for 3 hours. Yeah, without changing reeds, without changing the position, without putting off moisture. Because the putting off moisture is just a problem if the moisture comes below your reed. If it doesn't come onto the table of the mouthpiece, it's not a problem, okay? So yeah, make sure to get into this habit, very important one, to just screw it on once, keep it for 3 hours during the entire rehearsal, don't move it, don't touch it. Also, your reeds will turn out much better because it will adapt to the shape of your mouthpiece inside of these 3 hours rehearsal. So when we have rehearsal weeks and concerts, I feel I tend to get much better reeds. Even if I put a bad reed on, like a medium quality reed, then after 3 hours of rehearsal, suddenly the reed somehow took the shape of my mouthpiece and it sounds much better and it starts to sound like a really good reed. So experiment with this. If you have problems with your high notes, definitely check out this video. It will teach you everything regarding high notes on the clarinet. Click this right now and go to the next video.